Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here, and today we are doing our whip and chat. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. I am working on the sunflower from the LPRTALK store on Amazon. I will have it linked in the description box. I will also link the unboxing in the eye of the video. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. You're washing your hands, not touching your face, all that fun jazz. Y'all, it has been a weekend. First things first, why are men just as nosy as kids? Like, I'm sitting out here, I was trying to record a video or two earlier, and Mr. Coffee, like, pokes his head out, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, anytime. Now, Mr. Coffee's not used to being home when I'm recording videos. So I'm like, anytime you hear me out here chitter-chattering to myself, that is a clear sign that I'm kind of a little busy. And he's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, well, you can't just walk out in the middle of me making videos. I know that, because then I have to restart it all over again. He goes, oh, my bad. What am I supposed to do then? So I sent him off on an adventure with Maggie. I sent him to go look for groceries while I record, because I know that'll take him about an hour. So hopefully him and Maggie have fun out. Mr. Orion decided to stay home with mommy because he's in an enthralling game of Fortnite with his friends. He got to play a little bit yesterday, but not a whole lot. Everybody was tired after our trip to the Badlands. We went to the Badlands Saturday, so we packed up lunch and stuff for the kids and I and Mr. Coffee, and we headed out to the Badlands because apparently they have hiking trails and stuff that you can do, and we wanted to go check out, like, the animals and stuff like that. Now, growing up, I was a little bit sheltered. I had never been to, like, a zoo or anything like that before, so, like, big animals always fascinate me. So when Mr. Coffee had brought this up on Thursday to take the kids out to this conservation park, I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. We get to see some buffalo. Now, I know there's a difference between buffalo and bison, but I still call bison buffalo. I don't know. So, hold on, let me find, oh, there it is. So, when we got to the conservation camp on Saturday, we're sitting there minding our own business, we're driving in. Now, usually they have a fee that you have to pay to go into the park, but they waive the fees right now because of the coronavirus, and then, of course, they tell you, to stay 6 feet from people that, are at the park, whatever. There were a lot of people there, but everybody essentially was being safe, practicing their social distancing and what have you, plus most of the people were hiking, and you're not going to see, like, for as big as this park was, you're not going to, like, run into a bunch of people while you're hiking. So, I was pretty confident that we'd be okay if we just, went hiking with the kids. So, we're sitting there, we drive in, of course, it's like 25 miles an hour, so essentially you're walking in a car, and we're driving through, and we get to the first little bridge before you get into the actual park. And, of course, right as soon as we get in there. Now, I think I'm worse than the kids when it comes to stuff like this because, again, I've not seen stuff like this before. So I was completely fascinated with everything. Miss Coffee don't get out much. You'll learn that real quick by the end of this whip and chat. So we're sitting there, and right underneath us, right underneath the bridge, is a bison drinking from this little pond or whatever down there. And I'm like, oh! There's a freak. I almost jumped out the car, y'all. I snatched that camera out so fast to take pictures. Y'all, I got so many pictures, it's ridiculous. I shared a few of them on my Instagram and on my Facebook page, Miss Crochet and Coffee. So if you are not on my Facebook page or my Instagram, you can go ahead and head over there for a couple of pictures. I might insert a couple of pictures if I remember into the whip and chat. But the video, I did take a couple of videos, which I'm probably going to just let my Patreon see. So, just a small plug there. I do have a Patreon, so if you would like to join, it is always linked in the description box of my videos. But with that said, let's talk about this adventure we went on. Because you guys, I'm in a love-hate relationship right now with Patti LaBelle and these sweet potato pies. Let me explain why. Now, I'm usually pretty healthy. I love to go hiking. I love walking. I have long legs. I love to walk. It's just a thing. I've always loved walking, so when Mr. Coffee said about hiking, I'm like, I don't know how well the kids are going to hold up, but they were super excited. They were like, yeah, let's go hiking, let's go hiking. We get to our first stop after we see the bison when we first walk in, and there's a family there, and they're all, like, climbing the side of this, like, mountain cliff thing, and the kids are like, Mom, can we go climb up the rocks? And I'm like, give us a second. So we made sure everybody had on tennis shoes and, comfortable clothes that weren't too tight and whatever. And so we were like, we'll get there, but we wanted to wait for them to get the other family to get up a little bit higher before we went up, just so we weren't so close to them hiking on the trail. So we walked around the rocks and took some pictures of the kids and stuff. And for those folks that did see the pictures and you're wondering, because Maggie kept holding up this little card. And I had a couple of people ask me, what's up with the little card she's holding? So at the end of the school year for Maggie, because of course you guys already know, we made it through summer school. Yes! The kids are done with summer school, or not summer school, with homeschooling. So we are on summer break now. And I was all excited until like that next morning when I woke up Saturday and I went, oh snap, the kids are out for summer. Crap. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, now we're going to wait till this other family goes and then we'll go and, you know, whatever. I think this is the next letter. I've been kitting this up as I work on it. So you'll see me kitting this up as I work on it. So we're sitting there and we wait for the other family to go up. We take some pictures or what have you. Maggie pulls out her little card and she's like, let's take a picture of Miss Bowden. Now, Miss Bowden and her farewell package to the kids gave them a little card and said, let's go on an adventure. Essentially, what you do is whenever you go somewhere, you are to take the card with you and then snap a picture so you can show the teacher how far she went this summer. So we decided to take Miss Bowden with us to the little park thing there. And Maggie was all kinds of excited. And she's like, look, Miss Bowden, this and that. Now, it's just a little card with an emoji on it that looks like her teacher. So you take a picture with the card and then you email the picture to the teacher's school address, like their email address. And the teacher will message you back just so the teachers can keep in contact with the students over the summer. And I thought it was really cool because I was like, well, that's cool. It's kind of like when you sign that dollar bill to see how far the dollar bill has gone. So, like, you got to think of all her kids in her class. A lot of them are from out of state. Like, they've moved here from out of state. So, a lot of them are still going to be traveling because of, you know, their family and friends or whatever being out of state. Because I live in oil field country, so nobody, like, a few people might actually live here, but a lot of people's families don't live here, so they'll travel to go see their families. And the pandemic ain't stopping nobody around here, let me just tell you like that. But we're sitting there and we finally see the family kind of disappear off into the distance, and we're like, okay, it should be safe now. Let's take the kids and go, you know, up this mountain. Now, I'm sitting here minding my own business, and I'm thinking, I got this. Like, this, your brain plays tricks on you. Your brain tells you can do things that your body tells you can't. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, we got this. It's not that steep. And, you know, I was worried more so about the kids because they're not used to a bunch of physical activity like this. They're, like, climbing up giant rocks and stuff like that. Like, so I was just like, okay, well, as you remember, Maggie from judo class, Maggie was always climbing up that rock wall, so she was a pro. Maggie was up that rock so fast. Yo, I'm sitting there, and I told Mr. Coffee, I'm like, look, you go ahead so that you can make sure it's safe for us, and then the kids will follow behind you, and then I'll follow behind the kids in case they lose their balance or something. He said, cool. Now, I probably should have had Mr. Coffee looking after me, too, because I'm the only one sitting there slipping and sliding. Oh, God, I'm going to fall. I'm just all over the place, and the kids are, like, giggling and laughing. And like, Mommy, come on. And I'm like, dude, look, I'm not built like this, okay? I'm built like a Chevy. I'm not built like a Ford, okay? I can't handle this. Now, I made sure I brought me and Orion's inhalers because Orion has pretty bad asthma like I do. So I made sure that we had our inhalers and everything. And I was like, Orion, are you okay? Like, I'm trying to like divert everybody's attention off of me huffing and puffing and sweating patty pie, and I'm just like, Orion, are you okay? Do you need your inhaler? And he's like, no, I feel fine. Now, I go up sorry, doggy barking. So I'm going up the side of this cliff, and I'm huffing and I'm puffing. You would have thought I was a big bad wolf as much as I was huffing and puffing up this cliff. And now my mind had played a trick on me, and my body was telling me how much of a joke it was, because I was so out of breath by the time we got to the top part of the thing. And then you know how when you feel like you've done something really big, and then you look back on it and it wasn't that big at all? Y'all, we were literally like 2 feet off the ground, and I'm already huffing and puffing. And as I look up, we have like another 6 feet to go, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna die. Oh yeah. And Mr. Coffee's like, stop being so dramatic, come on. I'm like, I'm coming, just give me a second. So like, I sit down for a few minutes. I catch my breath, pump my inhaler once, and I'm like, all right, we got this. We gonna do this. Meanwhile, I look around, everybody's gone. I'm like, they've already done this. I'm out. All right. So I see them up the trail because I told them to just go ahead up so that they weren't sitting there waiting for me. And I haven't had this much physical activity in I don't know how long. Now, I play with the kids and I run with the dogs, but I don't climb up stuff. Like, me and climbing up stuff are just not a thing. So, as I'm sitting there, minding my own freaking business, we're climbing, and me and Mr. Coffee had decided to switch places because apparently I was just going too slow for the herd. And they were like, why don't you get up front and you set the pace for us, and I'll watch behind us for the kids. And I was like, all right. So we're walking up this thing, and we we stop every time we come to a flat spot so we can see how far we traveled up. And I'd take pictures, and the kids would take pictures together. It was so much fun. Oh my God. Even though my body was trying to play tricks on me, I was still having a lot of fun. Now, by the time we got to about 3 feet up off the ground, my legs felt like jello. I was just like, oh my freaking God, my kneecaps. My kneecaps, y'all, they were shaking. You would have thought that they saw a ghost. I was just sitting there like, please, Lord, don't let them give out on me now. Let me just get to the top of this mountain now. Oh, good God. So we're going up, and I'm ahead of everybody now, and I set the pace, which was a nice steady pace, but it wasn't super slow. And we finally get to the top. It takes us about 30 minutes of climbing to get to the top. We get up there, and there's like a little cave up there that you can go in, and we're showing the kids all the stuff and telling them all the things, and they're just like wide-eyed and all excited, and this is so cool. And I absolutely loved it. We don't get a lot of family time like this, so it just meant a lot to me to be able to take and not only go with the kids, but also with Mr. Coffee, because we never get to do anything with him. Usually it's just me and the kids. So it was just a great time, and I'm like, maybe next time we come to the northern part, because there's 2 parts of this park. There's the northern and the southern. We didn't even touch the southern, and we were there for almost 6 hours, okay? This conservation park is huge. It's something that was started by Theodore Roosevelt, and I just thought this was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, and we're only at the northern part, and I didn't find that out until we got to the very end, and Mr. Coffee's like, you know, maybe on my next 10 days off, we'll go to the south end of the park. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we'll go to the south end. He goes, this is only the north end. This isn't even like the whole park. This is just y'all, this thing was massive, okay? It took us almost all day to walk through this thing. So anyways, we're climbing up the thing there. We get to the top. We're about 6 to 8 feet off the ground or something like that. It's real tall. It's real high off the ground. And we're just looking over, and everybody's just, you know, whoa, this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. The kids are like all excited. Maggie's like, Mommy, where's Miss Bowden? So I pull Miss Bowden out of my pocket because it's just a little laminated card with her teacher's emoji on it. And we pull out the card, and we let her snap a picture with her teacher so her teacher can see that that's one of the places that she went. They were all kinds of excited, and oh, we got to do this and we get to do that. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm loving this. The kids are having a great time. Mr. Coffee's loving it. Mr. Coffee loves anything that has to do with the wilderness and trying to survive, okay? If you're trying to survive outside in the wilderness, Mr. Coffee is all about that life. So I'm trying to see what my next symbol is. Number 6. Nope. I need a plus sign. Hang on a second. All right. So I had to find this color. Sorry. So we get to the top, and we're taking pictures with Maggie with her card, and Orion and her are like looking at all the different rocks and how the ground is laid out. And they found a big old bison footprint, and they went to take pictures with their feet inside the footprint because it was massive, you guys. Apparently the bison can get up to like 2,000 pounds. So they were all kinds of excited. And Mr. Coffee's like, well, did you want to continue going up? Now, at this point, like I said, we're high off the ground already. Like, we're already high off the ground. And Mr. Coffee's like, do you want to keep going up? And I'm like, there's more? And he goes, yeah, you just cut across this corner here, and it takes you up higher. And I'm thinking, higher? Okay. All right, let's go higher. And the kids are all excited. They're jumping. Let's go higher. Of course, because, you know, they're kids and their bodies are made for this. My body, again, is singing Patti LaBelle's greatest hits as it's sweating patty pie juices all over my face. And I'm like, the only thing I can think of is, I'm so glad I didn't wear my weave out here, because I would have sweated my weave right on out. Now, I said in live Friday I was going to wear my weave out. I was like, nah, I woke up Saturday. The wind was blowing pretty good. and we were supposed to be having like 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. And I'm like, I'm not about to be that lady from the school and have my wig blown all in the wind. No, there will not be any Gone with the Wind happening today. So I just put a hat on. But I'm glad I did, because it literally would have blown off with as windy as it was, which was nice because the weather, it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, it was really, really nice outside. So we got to enjoy the day and not like burn to death. And of course we had water and stuff with us in case we got thirsty or whatever. But Mr. Coffee's like, let's continue to go up since the kids want to go up higher. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm sitting there with that fake smile. Please God, no, not again. Let's just camp here for the day because I'm done. And I'm like, no, you got to put a brave face on for your kids. Your kids want to, you know, they're having a good time. Mr. Coffee's having a great time. Let's do this. And I'm like, all right, we got this. So we start going up higher and higher. And we finally get to the tippy top of this thing. And we are like far off the ground. The other family is up there too. They're taking pictures and their kids are playing in the trees and stuff. And it was so beautiful, you guys. Oh my God, the landscape was amazing. And again, if I remember to add in pictures, I will add in a couple of pictures for you guys. So I'm sitting there and we get to the tippy top and we start to walk and he goes, oh, there's another little thing up here. You can go see a cave. Oh, there's another cave. Okay, let's go see this cave thing. So we climb up a little bit higher. Now, the other family had stayed down on the lower level and we went up because I guess they had already seen the little cave up there. And so I was like, all right, let's go see the little cave. So we climb up a little bit higher. Now, again, I'm in front. Mr. Coffee is behind the kids and Orion's behind me. And then, of course, Maggie. So as we venture our way up the side of this ginormous rock, we get to the top. And I see something like, I see a shadow in front of me. It's not like right in front of me, but it's far enough away that I can still see the shadow. And I'm sweating like a whore in church, okay? It's hot. I am climbing. I am doing more physical activity than I've probably done in a year. And I'm sweating patty pie juices all over the place, okay? So we get to the top. I'm huffing and puffing. I take a hit of my inhaler. I look over. I kid you not, there is a freaking bison standing right in front of us. He's looking, and I gave this thing a look because I was like, listen, look, you're not going to look at me like I'm pitiful, okay? I don't walk these plains like you do, and you're not going to sit there. And Mr. Coffee's like, are you giving attitude to a bison? Look, I don't like the way he's looking at me right now. He's looking at me like a Judgy Judy, and I don't appreciate it. The bison literally looks at us as it sees us come up. And one of the first signs you see when you come in is do not approach the bison. They might appear to be calm, but they can be very dangerous. They are up to 2,000 pounds and can run 30 miles an hour. Now, look, listen. Miss Coffee can run. I took track and field in school. But Miss Coffee's body ain't built like that no more. Now it's built on patty pies, okay? So I can't be running like that anymore. So the first thing I thought was, don't run, it's going to catch you. So I'm like, okay, what do we do? Mr. Coffee's like, just stand still, it'll leave. This thing literally looked at us, gave this like weird snort sound, and then just walked off like, pitiful. You know what, bison, you can come back here and get these hands because you ain't gonna be sitting there judging me like that as I'm trying to have fun with my family right now. Like, I don't get to walk around free like you do all these plains and you can handle these streets. This isn't my neck of the woods, okay? Like, seriously. And Mr. Coffee's like, you're literally getting attitude with the bison. Look, listen. You saw the way he looked at me? He looked at me like he had an attitude problem. And Mr. Coffee goes, it's a bison. They don't know how to catch attitude. I'm like, he might not be able to know how to catch attitude, but he can catch these hands. And Mr. Coffee's like, why are you trying to die out here in front of your kids? You know, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let me stop right now before that thing come back and boot me right off the side of this cliff. So it walks off and, you know, we're like, okay. And the bison they were very tame. They didn't seem like they would want to bother anyone. But I wasn't about to take that chance. Okay. If I had to, I would have hauled ass out of there, but you know, it was cool. It walked off. The kids got to see the bison up close. I didn't want to chance taking a picture just for the fact that, that clicking noise makes it freak out and then it goes and attacks my family. So I was like, no, I'm not taking a picture. Miss Bowden's going to have to sit this one out. So we get to the top, we get to the cave. Everybody's like, look at the cave, look at the cave. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, cave. And the only thing I can think of is no more patty pie. No more patty pie. Like, it's summertime. I have gained the quarantine 200, okay? It's time for me to lose some of this weight, and I need to be more active. I need to get out more. So me and Mr. Coffee had decided, as we were walking through the trail, we were talking with the kids and stuff about all the stuff we're seeing, and we didn't have cell phone service, so I was trying to send pictures to Paw, but then they wouldn't like send to him, so it would wait until we hit like one of those random weird spots that had cell phone service, and then it would kind of send Paw a bunch of pictures all at once. And it was funny because as we're walking, I hear something behind us. Now, we don't have any weapons on us, okay? We're like literally in the woods, defenseless. So I hear some twigs snapping, and I'm thinking, I'm about to have to murder somebody. Now, take it. Miss Coffee has taken 3 years of kickboxing, okay? So between my 3 years of kickboxing, Maggie's knowledge of judo, apparently, and Orion's supposed knowledge of judo, and then Mr. Coffee just being Mr. Coffee, I'm like, we got whatever's coming after us. Here, it was a park ranger, and he goes, hey, and, you guys okay? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, don't get lost out here. I have to come find a lot of people out here. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry, say what? Now, when he said that, my mind immediately said, no, go back. What are you doing? What do you mean you get lost? You can't just breeze right over that conversation. What do you mean people are getting lost? Now, before you go hiking on the trail, you have to sign a paper, and the paper just lets them know you're up there. And then when you get to the other side of the mountain or the hiking trail, you sign that you left the hiking trail. And then I guess every couple of hours, they go and check that register to make sure that you didn't get lost in the freaking woods. And so I was like, you ain't going to just come up here and breeze by that conversation. I was like, how often do people get lost out here? And he goes, you'd be surprised. I'm sorry, what? Now, when he said this, my whole mind was like, get out now, just leave. You know you're not good with directions. And I already told y'all, tell me landmarks. Don't tell me road signs. Don't tell me go left here and go. No, you tell me landmarks. This is the perfect place. How do I get off of this? Tell me what landmarks I need to see to get the hell out of here. And he goes, oh, but you guys are fine. You just follow this trail for another 6 miles and you're good. I'm sorry, say what? How many miles? I look at the kids and I'm like, and we're still kind of close to how we got there in the first place. I'm like, you guys want to turn back around and go back down the mountain? Now, secretly in my brain, I was like, please say yes. And they're like, no, it's okay. We want to walk. Mr. Coffee's like, you got this? You good? I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm good. I got this. I'm going to do my best to get this. I got it. Yo, Miss Coffee was struggling so bad. We climbed up a couple more feet and we were hiking for a while. I don't even know how long. Again, my phone wasn't working out there, and so I was just kind of sitting there like taking pictures and just enjoying the day. And we got to stop and have lunch, which lunch was pretty much, we had our bottled water and we took like a little snack, like some peanut butter crackers, because I didn't want the kids to leave food out in the wilderness for the bison, and then they come chasing us looking for the food. So we had like some crackers or whatever and some water, and we decided we weren't going to eat real heavy or anything. We we're going to pick, because they had picnic tables at certain spots. So we stopped at one of the picnic tables, and we had our sandwiches that we packed and our crackers and our water, and we sat there for a few minutes. And there's a map, of course, right by the picnic table, and it tells you where you are and how to get out of there. So I was like, all right, so Mr. Coffee, you look at this map, because again, I don't do maps. I do landmarks, so I don't know what any of this means. And it just said, you are here. To exit, go this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, we got this. We can get out of here. Yo, why it still take us another 45 minutes to hike out of there? I was so tired. And Mr. Coffee goes, and this is just the first hiking trail. Look, I love you all, but y'all about to leave me in the car, okay? I can't. Oh my God, y'all, I swear to God, I sweated out about 3 patty pies by the time we left that area of the hiking. And I was just like, and we got to do more of this? I don't know if I'm built for this. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Y'all might have to carry me back. But Mr. Coffee's like, well, let's go get in the car for a little bit, because it looks like everybody could use a little bit of a break off their feet. Let's go get in the car and we'll drive further up. So we finally come off the hiking trail. We circle back around to get to our car, because the trail literally takes you in a gigantic circle, and it takes you right back to the parking lot where you park. So he's like, let's go get in the car. We'll let everybody's legs take a break. We'll find the next trail, because every stop that had a plaque had a trail. And he's talking about, we're not going to hike all of them, but we're trying to get it to as many as we can. Why? Why do we got to get to as many as we can? We can't just stop by like 2 or 3 of them. We got to do the extra and do all of them. All right, fine, whatever. The kids were having so much fun, and we were like, at one point we were in the car, and a bison started walking down the road right next to our car. Like, it was on the opposite side of the road. It literally kept walking, stopped, looked at us, and kept walking. And I'm just like, yo, one of us gonna get attacked by this bison for real. But then I realized, because right after it passed our truck, it stopped mid-road, like middle of the road. And I'm like, why did that thing stop? Well, here there was people hiking on the other side of the street. So I guess he decided to go over and say hi to them. And we kind of like, you know how when you shout and you try to do like a little bit of a whispering, you're like, hey, do you need help? So like we looked at the people, and I had to do it because they were on my side of the car. And I was like, hey, y'all want to jump in real quick? And they're like, nah, we're okay. This same guy's passed us 3 times. And I was like, okay. Apparently they had seen this bison. The bison essentially was just following them. I'm like, that means run. That doesn't mean keep hiking. That means that thing is coming after you. Like, it's trying to trail you so that it can eat you. But you know what? You cool, we cool. We're just going to head on out. So we left them there. Hopefully they made it out okay. Because we didn't see them on the way back. Because the way back, it took us a good 5 or 6 hours to just drive through the park. The drive-through part... Sorry, I had the door open. The drive-through part of the park is an hour and a half, and then if you stop like we did to walk the trails and everything, you're going to be in there for a long time. So we were there for a good portion of the day. And by the time we reached the end, the kids were so exhausted. They're like, we can't walk another step. All right, sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that loud motorcycle got by and wasn't making a bunch of ruckus. But yeah, so we decided, okay, we're going to keep hiking, but we're going to drive a little bit. So we drove a little bit of the trail. We skipped 2 of the hiking trails, and when we came to the 3rd one, he's like, look, let's hike up here. And I was like, all right, cool. By this time, my legs didn't feel so much as jelly. It was like they were kind of getting a little bit of a break, and then right as they got that break, they were just like, oh no. Like, my legs were shaking. My legs still, like, in the morning, the next morning, my legs were still shaking. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I can hike up this. This is no problem. The kids are running up and down these hills like no problem. Mr. Coffee's going up and down the hills. He doesn't even have hiking shoes on. He has his work boots on. So I don't know how he did it. And with his bad ankle, he was up and down that mountain, no problem. Now, we get to the one part of the mountain, and it has some loose rocks. And Mr. Coffee was like, be careful, there's loose rocks up here. Everybody watch your footing. And we, told the kids, just be super careful because we don't want you to slip. As soon as we say it, Orion goes to take a step and almost falls. We catch him. I immediately go into an asthma attack. I had my inhaler with me. I knocked my inhaler out of my pocket, took a couple hits, and I'm like, oh my God, buddy, are you okay? And he's like, I'm okay. Okay, dude. Okay, I'm glad you weren't scared of the fact that you almost fell off a cliff, but that's all right. So we continue up the cliff, and we get to the top where you can see like the rest of the, not the rest of the park, but you can see a good portion of the park, and you can see the sun laying on top of some of the plateaus and stuff. And it was just so beautiful, and the kids were just loving it. And I'm like, this is what family time is. This is exactly what we needed. Electronics free, just us and the kids, and we're out in nature, and they're having a blast. And I'm like, I love this. Now, I see something move out of the corner of my eye. Now, if you remember, I had a stroke a few months ago. Don't worry, I'm fine. I had a stroke a few months ago, so my eyesight is still a little off, especially in my peripheral vision. So every once in a while, I'll think I see something moving, and there's nothing there. So that's what I thought it was. And then I hear tss, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Y'all, it was a flipping snake. I freaked out. I ran. Now, when I ran, I'm the type of mother that if something happens to me, you best believe I'm going to do the best thing I can to make sure my kids are okay. I grabbed each of those kids by the back of their pants, and I hooked them and ran. Mr. Coffee's like, what are you doing? I'm like, there's a friggin' snake. And he's like, are you serious? Now he takes and like kicks the snake off the cliff, okay? He's like, it's gone. Now take it. I have Orion on one side. He's about 49 pounds. I have Maggie on the other side. She's about 46 pounds. And I'm huffing it with them, okay? Like, I am out, okay? Miss Coffee is not even playing. And he's like, where did you think you were going with them? I'm like, anywhere that's not here. They're laughing and giggling because they think I'm playing some kind of a game with them. Like, I'm like, they didn't even realize the danger they were in, and I just saved their freaking lives. And Mr. Coffee goes, it was a little snake. Okay, look, we are out in the wilderness, okay? If we're at home, then you can say little snake. In the wilderness, in their backyard, you can't say that's a little snake. That's a flicking snake. Like, no. So, as I, calmly got my heart back out of my throat and back down into my chest, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, my legs hurt so bad. And he goes, well, yeah. That's when I think I might have pulled the muscles in my legs because, like, y'all, I was gone. You don't even understand. I was out, okay? And Mr. Coffee's just sitting there looking at me, shaking his head, and he's just like, well, at least you can't say you don't know how to run. I'm like, I never said I couldn't run, and if I'm in danger, you best believe. And he goes, but I like the fact that you just left me behind here. You didn't say nothing until you were already, like, 3 feet away. And I'm like, look, listen, every man for themselves, and these are my babies, and I got to take them with me. And Orion and Maggie just kind of look at me and they're like, what happened? And I'm like, y'all missed the freaking snake. And they're just sitting there like, oh, I wanted to see the snake. And I'm like, no, see, this is why you two shouldn't be out in nature. Y'all are too inquisitive about nature and its surroundings that I can't take it, let you guys go outside normally like normal little kids. Like, this is not a thing. So we survived the snake attack, to which it was just a little small snake that Mr. Coffee just kind of booted off the side of a cliff. And we continue on our journey, and Mr. Coffee is like, are you okay? I'm like, I will be. He goes, you seem kind of jumpy. I'm like, a little bit, but you know what? It's better be safe than sorry, okay? It's a freaking snake. Sorry, I'm labeling and kidding this up as I go, so I'm like, it's a freaking snake. I don't do snakes, okay? I'm not too, I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of them, as I don't want to get bit, okay? I don't want to get bit by a snake. I don't even like getting bit by my kids, let alone a snake. So I'm like, look, I'm not trying to get bit out here in these streets. This is their backyard, not mine. They know how to get to me quicker than I can run. So I got to do what I got to do. And he goes, so you're just going to take the kids and take off? Yeah. What do you think I was going to do? Just leave them there while I ran off? No, the kids come with me. By this time, I have given both kids wedgies to the point it was ungodly, and they're both sitting there in the middle of the woods picking their wedgies out because they're like, Mom, you gave us a wedgie. What are you doing? I'm like, look, listen, you were safe, though. I would rather you be pulling your underwear out of your butt than trying to suck venom out of your leg or something. And Maggie's like, but I like snakes. I know you like snakes. That's the sad part. That's why I have to get you away from here. Maggie likes little woodland creatures. She wants to make them all her friends. Orion, he doesn't care too much. He just thinks it's cool to see them. So, hold on. All right, sorry. Daisy was barking at the dog coming down the street. So, our adventure was really nice. After we survived the snake attack, we continued hiking and we saw a couple more bison. And it was funny because we were watching, and the one little bison that was like behind in the crowd, like there was little babies and everything, and the kids were like, ooh, oh, and I'm like, just don't be too loud. We don't need them coming over here trying to check out the situation and eat us all. So let's just be kind of quiet. And of course, then that triggers the conversation of, do bison eat people? What do bison eat? And we have like these little pamphlets, because along the trail you can stop at these little stations, and it had little pamphlets to tell you about, all the wildlife in the park. And it was saying about, how bison graze off the land and they eat, dead animals and stuff like that. And I was just like, I wonder what happens when there becomes too many bison. And well, right at the next stop, it lets us know that when the park, every couple of years, the rangers and stuff will round up all of the bison on the property because they don't want it to get overpopulated. So what they do is, there's a lot of Native American tribes around the area where I live. So what they will do is they will collect up all the bison, take the older bison, and take them up to the Indian reservation for them to have. And then whatever they don't take, they then take to the local farmers for them to, do whatever with. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's really cool. So essentially they get to live out their life free. And then at the end of their lives, when they're, close to death or they're getting a little too old, they take them out of the park so that they don't just die in the park. So I'm like, that's really cool. And like just being able to be out with the family in nature, like it was just such a great experience. And I'm glad we got to do it. And then like we're in the car and it was like perfect timing because we get to the end of the trail and we get to this outlook. But before we get to the outlook, we had stopped and there's this little thing that looked like a little cabin sitting on the edge of this cliff. And Mr. Coffee's like, let's go walk down there. Now at this point, going up and down, like it wasn't really stairs. It was just like little, notches dug into the ground with a plank of wood to kind of stop you from tripping and falling. So we walked down and it kind of resembled stairs. So I flipped the diamond out myself. We walked down there and of course, as we walked down, somebody's like, hey, Jordan. And I'm like, who the hell is out here that knows you? Apparently, a couple of his co-workers were at the same park on that day, and they were there with their families, walking around, hiking, and they had stopped to eat lunch. So we stopped and ate a little bit more food because we had packed quite a bit of food. We stopped to eat a little bit more food and, hung out with them for a while. And, because I haven't met a whole lot of Mr. Coffee's co-workers. So I had met one of the guys, but not the other one. And so we stopped and we all, chit-chatted for a little bit and ate lunch together. And the guys were telling us about, how they were wanting to just get out of the house because they had been cooped up in the house too long. And they had talked about work a little bit. And it was just really nice. And they had kids that are around our kids' age. So they were all running and playing. And, of course, we had to make sure that they weren't going too close to the cliffs. And there was a really cool-looking outlook that we got to look out onto the river and everything. And I was just like, this is just amazing. I've never seen anything like it before in my entire life. And Mr. Coffee was like telling the guys, he's like, yeah, have you guys been to the South Park yet? And he goes, no, we're probably going to go to the South Park, of the park next time we have days off. And Mr. Coffee and the guy have the same days off. So he was like, how about we all go? And so we have a trip planned to go to the south end of the park because this park is like hundreds of thousands of acres big. So the south part of the park is another couple of hours away from where we were. That's how big it is. Like it's at least another 2 hours away from where we were. So we have plans on the next time Mr. Coffee has 10 days off that we are going to go with his friends and their family to the southern end of the park and go hiking. Now, by this time, I plan on being in better shape. So by that, I mean, I plan on losing a lot of the weight that I've gained sitting in the house, homeschooling the kids and whatnot, and getting a little bit more fit, going out a little bit, doing a little bit more walking with the dogs, making sure I stretch next time because I am paying for all that walking. And it wasn't so much the walking as it was the climbing up the rocks that got my legs, and then the running with the kids. I think I might have tore a muscle or something in my leg. I don't know, but I know it hurts like hell. And so I am been trying to take it easy, but when I walk right now, I'm limping because it just feels like something is tearing as I walk. So I'm limping right now. Luckily, I have a doctor's appointment coming up in a week or two. So if by that time it's not, whatever, I'll call the doctor. And because right now, unless you're dying, they're not seeing you because of the pandemic. So I figured I'll wait a little bit to see how it heals up, because I'm like, it's probably just the fact that I haven't used those muscles that vigorously in so long that they're probably just dying because they're like, what is she doing? Activity, no. So like the fact that my body was just like, I'm very proud of myself though, because I got through all the trails. I would say no problem, but I got through them okay. But I would like to be a little bit better at it. Like I want to be a little bit more physically fit. And if we're going to be, because we're talking about going camping there next year, whenever the pandemic and everything is over. But if we're going to be needing to be a little bit more physically fit, I need to make sure I'm stretching. I need to make sure that I'm drinking plenty of water. I need to get a little bit healthier, which is something I usually do in the summertime anyways. I don't call it a diet because I don't like the word diet. I just call it getting in better shape. So I will start working out like around now, because around now here in North Dakota is starting to get warmer out, where I'm not waking up to 30-degree temperatures in the morning. so I can actually get up. And I got up early this morning. I got the dogs out. We went for a 2-mile walk. My legs are still on fire. They are just like jelly, like the day we went hiking, and I feel really good. So it's time to cut back on the patty pies and cut up on more salad. Now the problem is, every time I eat a freaking salad, I break the freaking fork. I'm not sure how I'm doing this or how delicious this salad is, but every time I eat one of these salads, and they have pre-packaged salads over at Walmart, and I like getting those because they have one that's a ranch Cobb salad, and it has like egg and chicken breast in it, and it's just really good, just full of a lot of like really good stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start eating more salad, because I knew I wanted to get in better shape, because I knew I had put on some weight. So I started eating the salads, but now every time I eat one of the salads, the fork breaks. And I'm like, is this a sign, Jesus? Like, is this a sign that you don't want me eating this salad and you want me to eat the patty pie? Because I don't have a problem like this with the patty pie. It just goes down real smooth, easy. And I don't got to worry about breaking utensils. But if every time I eat a salad, I break the fork. So I'm like, I might need to reevaluate my eating choices. So I am hoping to get into better shape by the time we decide to go tackle the south end of the park. And by the time we actually think about going hiking and camping and everything else, I want to get in better shape, because, you know, I got to be in the best shape I can be, because I got to be able to keep up with everybody else. The kids were keeping up with Mr. Coffee just fine. It was me that was struggling. I was just like, I really need to get more activities done. That, and I made sure to ask them, you know, hey, if we come out here, I don't care about the no electronics thing. I can do the no electronics for a day or two. But what I can't do is no crafting. So I'm probably going to take some yarn out there, because I don't want to take these little pieces out into the wilderness. So I'll probably take some yarn out there and make like something or whatever out there. I just need something to keep my hands busy. And it's not so much about creating the images as it is, for me, keeping my hands busy, because it keeps me from fidgeting too much or smoking too much or what have you. Even though I don't smoke cigarettes, I smoke my vape, but still, it keeps me from fidgeting with it too much. And I just like having that activity, that response, and having the, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You diamond paint and stuff too, so you know what I mean. So yeah, so it was a great trip. We were literally there all day, and then at the end of the day, the kids were so exhausted. It was so great. They were so exhausted, and they were like, "Can we just stop and get food?" So we were like, "Yeah," because we ate all of our lunch by ourselves, and then again with his friends when we met up with them like maybe an hour and a half later. So, we were like, yeah, we can go get dinner, but I'm like, I don't want anything heavy, and I don't want anything really unhealthy right now. Like, I really, really want something that's a little bit healthier than burgers. So we went to Subway, and we got like sub sandwiches and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is exactly what I needed. Something that wasn't too heavy, that, you know, I still didn't feel like garbage after I ate it. So I'm like, awesome. So we had dinner, and then as soon as we had dinner, me and Mr. Coffee were sitting there talking. We're looking at the pamphlets and talking about going to the south part of the park on his next time off. And we look back, and both kids are asleep. And I'm like, oh, look, they're sleeping. And Orion pops his head up, and he goes, are we going home now? And we're like, yes, bud, we're going home now. So we, start the car up and start riding down the street. Orion stays up for a little bit, and then I hear this weird, like, sucking noise coming from the back seat. And I'm like, what the hell is that noise? I look back, and it's Orion, and he's playing with his bottle of apple juice, because he got apple juice from Subway with his meal. And I'm like, Orion, why are you doing that? And he's like, I don't know. It just sounds funny. And what he was doing is something I used to do as a kid, too, but I didn't do it to this extent. He was taking the bottle and sucking his lips in, and then sucking on it really hard to get his lips stuck into the bottle. Except for he was only doing it with his top lip. So when I turn around and I look, it looked like his nose was either bleeding, or it looked like something with, like, he had red juice all over the top part of his lip. And I was like, what are you drinking again? He goes, apple juice. And I'm like, why is your lip all red like that? Well, we happen to come to a stop sign. Mr. Coffee looks back, and he goes, dude, what the hell? What did you do? And Orion goes, I didn't do anything. And he's like, you did something. What's wrong with your mouth? Here, Orion had sucked his lip into the bottle and broken the blood vessels in his lip. And now his lip is red. It looks like, it literally looks like speckled, and it's all red. And you have to remember, Orion's really pale, so it shows up bright as a cherry tomato. I'm thinking, oh my God, do we need to get him out to the emergency room? You know, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. I'm touching it. I'm like, does it hurt? And he goes, it doesn't hurt, Mom. He didn't realize what he had done. And he didn't know why me and Daddy were looking at him so funny. So I show him and he goes, I have a red mustache. Okay, this isn't funny. You just broke a bunch of blood vessels in your lip. And he goes, oh, well. And he just, you know, continued on with life. Like, you know, this doesn't matter. So I was just like, okay, Orion, just do that. That's fine, Orion. You don't need that part of your lip or anything. It's cool. It's cool. So that was the ending of our trip. And then when we finally got home, got the dogs out, everybody was just so exhausted. I stayed up a little bit longer because I knew I had some work to do on the computer. And Mr. Coffee is like, you know, are you going to come to bed soon? And I'm like, I'm going to come to bed in probably like 2 hours. Because it wasn't like super late when we got home. But it was late enough that the kids wanted to go to bed. So it was like 9, 10 o'clock. And I was like, well, Jeremy's on too. And I want to catch a little bit of Jeremy's live before, you know, I go to bed. Because it's kind of my Saturday routine to catch, you know, certain lives. And then I go to bed. So I get on and I hop on Jeremy's live and Mr. Coffee hops up and he's getting everybody, like, finishing getting everybody cleaned up and everything. And he goes, how are your legs? I'm like, dude, I move, like, I have a blanket that sits here on the couch and I move the blanket back and you can just see my legs just shaking uncontrollably. And he's like, wow. So we get the heating pad and put it on my legs and we're just sitting here and he goes, let's try to get you in the shower and see if that helps. So I got in the shower. It helped soothe the pain a little bit. And then I was like, let me finish watching the rest of Jeremy's live and then, you know, or as much as I can. And then I'll, you know, come to bed. So I watched a little bit more of Jeremy's live and then I was like, you know what? I really need to go to sleep. I'm exhausted. Yo, why didn't nobody in my house wake up until noon the next day? The dogs even slept in. Because usually if the dogs need to go out, they will wake us up. They'll wake me up, I should say. They don't wake up Mr. Coffee. They usually wake me up. They'll come, like Daisy will come over to my side of the bed and nudge me to wake up. No, everybody stayed asleep until about noon. So we had a late breakfast. Started getting laundry together because we had just gotten back from a trip and I wanted to make sure all the laundry was clean because, you know, we were just outside in the wilderness. So I started getting laundry together and everything else. And we're sitting here and Maggie's like, Mommy, are we going to go on another adventure today? And all I could think of was my poor legs. I'm like, no. And the sad part is if I sit still for a long period of time, that's when they really start to bother me. And then when I have to stand up and sit back down. So I'm trying to stay active and move. This is probably the longest I've sat still since we got back Saturday or minus when I was sleeping, because my legs hurt so bad. And I told Mr. Coffee, I'm like, I am so out of shape. I really need to get back into a good shape where I can, you know, walk and stuff again. And he's like, yeah, that's really odd that you weren't able to handle that little bit of hiking. I'm like, I know. I'm like, it's a patty pie. And as I look over on the counter and I see the patty pie sitting there, I'm like, this is the last patty pie in the house for the summer. And he's like, agreed. And I was like, all right. So I have one more patty pie left. That will be my last one for the summer. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the summer getting back into shape. Because usually, even when I go to the beach and stuff, I wear a 2-piece. Okay, I'm a 2-piece and a biscuit. You get what you get. Like, I've had children, but I still look good. So I'm like, I'm wearing a 2-piece. So, and it's usually something that covers up like my stomach area still, but I'm not sitting out here, you know, half naked or anything, but I like wearing 2 pieces. I don't like wearing 1 pieces. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to get into a 2-piece this year because I'm too heavy right now. So, and my weight every once in a while will fluctuate for the most part, but not like this. Like, this literally comes from eating too many patty pies. So I'm like, you know, it's all going to the thunder thighs, and I'm like, I can feel the unhealthiness running out of my body as I was walking through that park the other day. So I was like, I really, really need to get healthier again. So I'm going to be, like I said, I don't like the word diet. I'm going to be trying to eat a little bit healthier so that when we tackle the south end of the park, we can hike a little bit longer, because we plan on making it an all-day event again. And this time we're going to be taking backpacks. So we're coming up right now with a list of stuff that we would like to take with us. And we're going to backpack trail not the entire park, because that would take literally hours. But we're going to hike through most of the park to explore what the south part of the park has for us. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I need to get into shape. So me and Patti LaBelle are about to break up because I can't be having her all up in my veins while I'm trying to walk and I'm sweating her juices out of my forehead. So I'm like, it's time to say goodbye to Patti LaBelle pie. Oh my gosh. Mr. Coffee was like, are you going to be okay without your patty pie? Now, I eat patty pie. I don't eat it like all the time, but there's always one in my house. And he's like, are you going to be okay without it? I'm like, yeah, but the problem is when it's here and I'm bored, I'll eat it just because I'm bored. And I know I'm not alone. I know other people bored eat. And I will sit here and bored eat all day and then still at dinner time be like, I'm still hungry. So I am trying. Uh-oh, hold on, there's a dog. It's always funny when little kids walk by my house and they go, that little dog looks like Balto. I've seen the movie Balto before, and Killian, I guess, kind of does resemble the little dog Balto. So little kids love walking past and seeing Balto. So yeah, so we have for the most part planned out what we would like to do this summer, whether it be with or without Minna this summer, just because I don't feel comfortable going to pick her up from Pennsylvania to bring her here with all this stuff going on. So she might miss out this summer, but we'll definitely get her next summer if we can, and take her hiking and stuff. That's the thing though, Minna's not one for the outdoors. Minna's not a big bug person. She sees a bug and she freaks out. And there weren't a lot of bugs, but there were enough to be annoying. So I don't know, but I'm so excited for this summer. It's going to be the summer that we actually get out and do like a lot of family things, and you know, take the kids away from these electronics for a while, because I don't want them stuck on the electronics all day. Even though they can still access, which I was very happy to hear that they can still access their school apps that they had on their Chromebooks that they got from school. They can still access those apps on the school's website under their name. So I was like, okay, well, that's awesome. And then we did get the notice that Maggie doesn't qualify for, they don't call it homeschool here, they call it tutoring. She doesn't qualify for tutoring because she passed the basic reading test for 2nd grade. And I'm like, yes, I know she can read. The problem isn't that she can't read. The problem is she's not a strong reader. I want her to be a strong reader. And so they gave me a recommendation for another program to try with her, and they were like, have you tried the ABCL? I'm like, yeah, she has like the subscription to the website. I want her to get a little bit stronger at reading, because she's still having problems like mixing up words. Like she'll say was and saw. When she sees the word was, she'll say saw instead of was. So I'm just like, you know, we'll figure out something with Maggie and her reading for the summer. Like she just will be reading all the time. But I want to help build her skills up before she hits 2nd grade, because I don't want her to go in 2nd grade and not know how to read or be too shy to read. So we're going to work on her reading skills this year. But summer plans, like we're going to try to plan something every time Mr. Coffee is off of work, so that we can do it as a family and it's not just me and the kids. Because last year, it literally was pretty much just me and the kids. And this year, and I told Mr. Coffee, I'm like, it's getting close to summer. Watch that ankle. Because if you guys remember, or if you were here last year, Mr. Coffee broke his ankle the day before we were to leave to go to Pennsylvania to pick up Minna. And so that trip was just horrid because of his ankle, and, you know, we missed our flight because they didn't let them know that we had a handicapped person with us, because Mr. Coffee was on crutches. You know how hard it is to, you know, run in crutches? So it was just a bad summer last year. So we're looking into things that we can do this year that will be fun for the kids and us, and it'll help keep us active. It'll get us all off our electronics and off of doing our own thing, and have us doing more stuff as a family. So that's always a plus. Love that. So this summer is going to be awesome. What are you guys' summer plans? Do you guys plan anything during the summer? I know the pandemic has put a damper on a lot of plans and a lot of traveling, but that's not to say you can't travel within like where you live, because like that was my biggest thing. Was I was worried about, you know, traveling and, you know, going to places that the virus might be predominant or something. But we did pretty good with staying away from people. We only ran into like maybe 2 or 3 people, and we still kept our, you know, 6 feet of distance away and everything else, because we have to be careful with that, because me and Orion have asthma. So So we were super careful, and that's the other thing was I thought it was really cool that Maggie's teacher included a little face mask in her goodbye package. So everybody had a face mask on when we went like into the restaurants and stuff. And y'all, I got to go to the dollar store. Now take it, it was new, so they were literally still stocking the shelves. But I got to go to the dollar store. So Mr. Coffee told me that the next time we go in, we'll go actually like look. Because we just ran in to get some more waters for to finish up the trip. We didn't want to stay too long in the store because they were still stocking. But for some reason they had it open that you can come buy stuff. So like we went in and grabbed a couple of waters before we left. So it's supposed to be really nice here this week. So we do plan on taking the kids out to the playground. The playgrounds here, they never really closed. Mostly because in this area, a lot of people travel out of state for the summer. They don't stay in the state. So they didn't really close the playgrounds or anything. So we're going to probably take the kids to the playground. Tomorrow, I'm dreading because apparently it's supposed to be warm enough that Mr. Coffee can turn the air conditioner on. And he's been dying to turn the air conditioner on. I'm Southern. I'm used to the heat, okay? I love it. And up here in North Dakota, you don't get the humidity that you get, say, like you do in Pennsylvania. So I'm like all for the heat here. Mr. Coffee, anything above 70 degrees, Mr. Coffee gets really uncomfortable and hot, and he doesn't like it. So, he'll get to turn the air conditioner on tomorrow, because it's supposed to be 90 freaking degrees. It's hard to believe it's supposed to be 90 degrees when it was just freaking snowing 2 weeks ago. So, that's global warming for you, I guess. But yeah, so we're planning out our summer, and like Mr. Coffee took Maggie to go search for different types of food that we can't find at our local Walmart. He's going to go find the butcher and see if he can get some ground beef and stuff, because they didn't have any at Walmart, which is the first time we went for like ground beef and they didn't have any. So obviously there's people cooking out and having parties or whatever. But yeah, so it was a great trip. We had a lot of fun. A lot of memories for the kids. I hope they do remember this when they get older, because like I got some really great pictures, which I will try to insert some. If I didn't insert a bunch of them throughout the whip and chat, I'll insert like a couple at the end. So if you stayed this far into the video, congratulations, you're a real MVP. So yes, so also if you made it to this part of the video, there is something coming to the channel. I have been asked to participate in something with the DIY Moon Shop again. So I am super excited. And there will be a giveaway. So stay tuned for that. I will have more information on that in the weeks to come, because I don't think I'm due to get anything until June. But there is that coming up, and I'm super excited to show you what it is. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to love it. And you can enter in for a chance to win. And again, you just have to stay tuned to the channel. So if you made it this far in the video, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you can't give me a thumbs up, just say, hey, Miss Coffee. Because I know a lot of people, you know, don't know how to use the emojis on the comments. So if you can't figure out how to do the comments for the thumbs up, just say, hey, Miss Coffee. So that just lets me know that you made it to the end of the video and you heard about the special surprise that's coming. So yeah, so I'm excited to see what the summer brings. I hope you guys have a wonderful summer. I, of course, will be still recording videos like normal. I might slow down on videos, but understandable, it's the summer, and I want to make sure my kids have an enjoyable summer and they're not cooped up in the house. So if nothing else, you'll get some stories about our adventures out. We did have a great time, minus the fact that, you know, the bison were, you know, kind of judgy, but we're not going to talk about it. And then, of course, the snake that Mr. Coffee was like, it's not even that big. Okay. See, to men, snakes aren't that big, but to women, they're huge, okay? Anyways, but I hope you guys enjoyed the whip and chat. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything said, or if you want to know more about the trip, please feel free to comment down below. Again, I'm going to insert pictures, and then if you can tell me what the difference is between a buffalo and a bison, you get 10 cool points. So there's that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random videos just like this, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, I'm stuck to the campus. It's random. But with that said, folks, I now must really bid you adieu. But not before reminding you, like I always try to, be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.